Whew. El Chapo trial shows that Mexico's corruption is even worse than you think. Of course. But no one really took notice until now. What you need to know started there, whatever. It is no secret that Mexico's drug cartels have, for decades, corrupted the authorities with dirty money. But as bad as the graphs has been, the New York trial of Joaquin Guzman Loera, the drug lord known as El Chapo, has suggested that the swamp of bribery runs even deeper than thought. In 2 months of testimony, nearly every level of Mexican government has been depicted as being on the take. Prison guards, airport officials, police officers, prosecutors, tax assessors, and military personnel are all said to have been compromised. One former Army General, Gilberto Toledano, was recently accused of routinely getting payoffs of $100,000 to permit the flow of drugs through his district. Even the architect of the government's war on Mr. Guzman and his allies, Genaro Garcia Luna, the former public security director, was suspected to have taken briefcases stuffed with cartel cash. Federal prosecutors have charged Mr. Guzman, a long-time leader of the Sinaloa drug cartel, with taking part in a continuing criminal enterprise by shipping more than 200 tons of heroin, cocaine, and marijuana across the United States border from 1980s until it was arrested in Mexico 2 years ago. To prove its case, the government plans to call witness at least 16 of the kingpin's underlings and allies, some of whom served as cartel bagmen. So those are 16 strong cartel members. You know, those are very recognized cartel members. Some are very recognized cartel members. And we're going to get into it right now. While tales of violence have been common at the trial, which is on hiatus for the holidays, the accounts of grafts have been even more extensive. The jurors have been told that Mr. Guzman was practiced in the business of corruption from the early days of his career. In the late 1980s, witnesses have said he started funneling millions of dollars to his first official on his payroll, Guillermo González Calderoni, the chief of Mexico City's federal police, the Pepos. Mr. Calderoni, who was Mr. Calderoni, who was partly raised in Texas, eventually became a legendary officer in Mexico, perhaps best known for having helped the American authorities crack the case of Enrique Camarera Salazar, Quique Camarera, that's how you an agent for the Drug Enforcement Agency, DEA, who was captured, tortured, and killed by traffickers in 1985, but within 2 years, according to evidence at Mr. Guzman's trial, the lawman was already accepting cartel bribes. One witness, Miguel Angel Martinez, told jurors that Mr. Calderoni provided Mr. Guzman with secret information on an almost daily basis, including an invaluable tip in the early 1990s that the United States government had built a radar installation on the Yucatan Peninsula to track his drug flights from Colombia. Wow, we didn't even know that. Mr. Martinez also testified that Mr. Calderoni once informed Mr. Guzman that the Mexican authorities had discovered a smuggling tunnel he had dug beneath the Arizona border. Before the police could raid the tunnel, Mr. Guzman was able to make off with a huge supply of cocaine. But as useful as he was to the Kingpin's operation, Mr. Calderoni met a violent end. In 2003, a gunman approached his silver Mercedes as it sat parked on a street in McAllen, Texas, and shot him in the head. The authorities have never identified his killer. Wow, so that was in 2003. A hitman from Mexico, a Mexican sicario, killed him in 2003, and they've never found him yet. Mexico is not the only country to emerge from the trial with its reputation stained. Last month, Juan Carlos Ramirez Abadia, one of Mr. Guzman's Colombian suppliers, appeared in federal district court in Brooklyn and admitted to having paid off everyone from journalists to tax officials in his country, Colombia. What? A former chief of the North Valley drug cartel, Mr. Ramirez, calmly told the jurors that the entire wing of his organization was devoted to doling out payments. Wow, it is impossible. So that's like HR right there. It is impossible to be the leader. It's impossible to be the leader of a drug cartel in Colombia without having corruption, he explained. They go hand in hand. That's messed up. The list of those who took his money was impressive. Prison guards, border agents, lawyers, and several officers with Colombia's national police. Mr. Ramirez boasted from the stand that in 1997 he spent more than $10 million bribing what amounted to the entire Colombian Congress to change the country's extradition laws in his favor. What? A whole country? This guy literally changed the extradition laws from his country, Colombia. What? He also claimed to have paid as much as $500,000 to Ernesto Samper, the former president of Colombia, when he was running for office. So that's Mexico and Colombia. Mexico and Colombia have so much in common, bro. They're like the drug capitals. God. Even people in the private sector, witnesses have said, took cash from the cartels. A few weeks ago, the jurors learned that Mr. Guzman had once reached a deal with a Colombian catering firm to sneak cocaine past security officials at the Bogota airport onto planes owned by a Venezuelan airline, Aeropostal. When the planes arrived in Mexico City, the jurors were informed the crew of corrupt employees would move the drug onto trucks for the cartel. Jorge Cifuentes Villa, a Colombian trafficker who also shipped cocaine to Mr. Guzman, recently testified that during his career, he laundered up to $15 million in drug trade profits through a crooked debit card company. Mr. Cifuentes also said he once paid off a professional gemologist to fraudulently certify that there were emeralds in a mine he had invested in and was using as a drug front. Sorry if I said that wrong, gemologist, or if I'm saying it wrong. Some of the most egregious evidence of corruption has not been heard by the jury and likely never will be. In November, for example, one of Mr. Guzman's former operation chiefs, Jesus Zambada Garcia, was poised to reveal that two Mexican presidents, neither of whom was named, had taken massive bribes from the cartel. I just want to pause right there. So they're not saying which president or which two presidents that are ex-presidents have taken bribes. They don't want to say it. Why? Because this case hasn't ended, or Chapo hasn't spilled everything yet. So there's more evidence to come against everyone that's in Mexico. The shadow government is going to fall because of this case, El Chapo. That's why in that other video I was telling you guys, why isn't the mafia doing something against Chapo's family? You know what I mean? It's weird. I don't wish for anything to happen to his family, but in a cartel situation where someone's throwing information that is heavily important to the cartel's secrecy, they have to do something to stop his spilling of the beans, his information telling to the government. So it's crazy. It's crazy how this is turning out, but at the same time, what same time? We don't know. Okay, so let's keep going. So neither of whom was named and taking the massive bribes from the cartel, but the testimony was shut down before it could be heard by Judge Brian M. Cogan, who ruled that it would needlessly embarrass certain individuals and entities. He didn't do it because of that. He didn't do it because they was going to embarrass the ex-presidents or it was going to embarrass somebody. No. They're smart, bro. The United States is smart. But further tales of payoffs may be coming. In his opening statement, Jeffrey Lichman, one of Mr. Guzman's lawyers, promised jurors that a witness who has not yet appeared at the trial, Cesar Gastelum Mucerano, could, if asked, talk about bribing presidential candidates in Guatemala and buying off a president off Honduras. Oh my God, this is insane. Then there was another potential witness, Damaso Lopez Nunez, one of Mr. Guzman's top lieutenants, who allegedly had Mexican Marines, intelligence officers, and local politicians on his payroll. There is no part of the Mexican government or law enforcement apparatus, Lichman said, that Damaso did not control. So let's just review a couple things said here, because this is powerful, man. They don't want to reveal two of the ex-presidents that were bribed. They don't want to reveal the people that are going to come testify. They don't want to reveal certain information that is being labeled classified in this case, if I may say. And they don't want to also let Chapo handle certain events from his past to be heard in public. It's being kept secret because they're building a case. They're building a case against Mexican politicians and Mexican ex-presidents or everyone who's tied to this shadow government and corruption. This is awesome, bro. Honestly, this is very good news, but this is very bad news for Mexico, for its cities that have corruption, because there's going to be a lot of killings, there's going to be a lot of wars going on. This happens. It's already happening. What am I saying? It's already happening. But damn, isn't this interesting? Isn't this interesting that El Chapo's trial is bringing so much light to Mexico's corruption that not even AMLO could have done himself? You know what I mean? Like, not even AMLO could have uncovered all of this. Holy crap, bro. Thanks for watching, guys. King Dragon Kraken. Sub, like, comment. I always do read your comments, but damn, this is crazy.